Saluton, bonan tagon, mia nomo estas Soji Moon.
What?
Hello, what a good day, my name is Soji Moon, and today I'm going to make a presentation about Esperanto, one who hopes. Firstly, I'm going to talk about Esperanto. Secondly, I'm going to talk about alphabets of Esperanto. Thirdly, I'm going to explain a brief history about Esperanto and advantages and limits of Esperanto and how Esperanto is working nowadays. Firstly, Esperanto was made by L.L. Zamenhof. He was Polish eye doctor, and he was good at several languages. He was born in a place called Białystok, where a lot of people from a lot of cultures, such as French, Polish, and Jewish, were living together. And naturally, there were some conflicts happening between them, and Zamenhof thought different language was a problem. Esperanto is consisted of 28 alphabets. For example, tree is arbo, dog is hundo, and friend is amico. Now I'm going to show you a video about how to pronounce these 28 alphabets.
A, bo, so, cho, do, e, fo, go, jo, o, ho, I, yo, jo, ho, lo, mo, no, o, ho, ro, so, sho, to, u, wo, vo, zo.
Watching the video, were there any other languages that you thought that was similar to Esperanto? Yes, Spanish and English are very similar to Esperanto. So, and there is very famous Esperanto word. What do you think the Esperanto word meaning parrot is?
Papalo.
But interestingly, in Papelo there's no Esperanto for the language. I'm going to talk about the brief history of Esperanto. Firstly, 1905 First World Esperanto Congress, and there was a discussion and election that decided not to change vocabulary. And in the first General Assembly, there was discussion about teaching Esperanto in public school, but this discussion led to not teaching Esperanto in public school by French, because French was then a global language that almost everyone knew in Europe, so French naturally opposed to this idea. Now let's talk about World War II and Esperanto. In World War II, there was Nazism and Fascism, like you all know, and Nazism especially disliked the idea of Esperanto, which is making an equal world by language. And plus, Zamenhof was Judea, so Hitler called Esperanto Judea's plot. This situation lasted until 1950s, but there was one big change to Esperanto. That English became global language after World War II and going through the Cold War. Now let's talk about Esperanto's advantage. Firstly, it's a neutral language and it causes cultural integration, and it breaks language barriers, which was also the purpose of Esperanto. Secondly, it is easy to learn. It has simple grammar and pronunciation. Unlike English, there is no irregular verbs or conjunctions.
Nice.
Thirdly, it's similar to Indo-European language families languages, and this may also be advantage because Indo-European language family is one of the largest language family in all time, but this may also be disadvantage. So one of the limits is similar to Indo-European language. Two language families that are not Indo-European language family, and Esperanto is quite different versus natural language, so it causes limited number of speakers. If there is limited number of speakers of Esperanto, it's not actually used in real life, causing low impact in society, limiting learning resource, and also going back to limited number of speakers. And this causes a vicious cycle. Now, I'm going to talk about the secret of this map. So this map represents the speakers of Esperanto all over the world.
Mm.
You can notice in Brazil, US, and in Europe, there are quite many Esperanto speakers, and also in South Korea, there is Esperanto speakers. But you may also notice that in most African countries and in Middle East countries, there is absolutely no Esperanto speakers. Lastly, I'm going to talk about nowadays Esperanto. Let's talk about Esperanto's global usage. Esperanto now has 2 million speakers, and 2024 World Esperanto Congress, which first started in 1905, was held in Tanzania. Esperanto found new amico, or new friend, called Duolingo, who made Esperanto easier to spread all over the world. Lastly, I'm going to discuss about education in Korea. In Hanguk University of Foreign Languages, or also known as Hanguk 외국어대학교 in Korea, has a class called Olivo, which teaches Esperanto to students.
Really?
Before I go to quiz, anybody has a question? Now, if you don't have any questions, I'm going to go to my final slide. Firstly, who made Esperanto? L.L. Zamenhof made Esperanto. Now, secondly, what is limits of Esperanto?
There are not a lot of people who use it, so less.
As
and
for
more.
example, there are a limited number of speakers and causing a vicious cycle. Dankon, Gisla, Davido, buenas nakton, or should I say, thank you for listening to my presentation. I'll meet you next time, and have a good evening.